What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Florida Man Jay's Garage. Today's going to be a pretty choppy video. It's going to be pretty rough because it was a pretty rough time for me. I ran into a lot of problems, but I wasn't going to let that stop me. I found a way to get around them so that way I can get what I needed done. No excuses, no exceptions, just getting stuff done here. So today we're going to be replacing the water pump, the radiator hoses, we're unclogging my heater core, and I have a new serpentine belt that you will see me take off and not really put back on, but just know that however you take it off, it'll be the opposite of putting it back on. So let's get out there and check out what we got going on today. All right, guys. First thing we're gonna do is get down here and take the serpentine belt off. I was gonna do a video of actually doing this as a separate job so you guys could see, but I was already gonna do this anyway, and removing and putting back the serpentine belt is just part of the water pump job. So 2-in-1 video. Guys, I apologize that this video is going to be one huge mess. I completely failed to mention, before you take this tensioner off, you've got to undo this bolt with a 15mm, and then this bolt that I tightened or loosened on to get it off is a 15mm as well. And as you can see, I've already got the job completely done. The new water pump is on. All this is on. This video is going to be really backwards. So we're going to go back there and I'll show you the best I can, piece by piece, how to do this. Because this job was not as easy as it seemed. I ran into some complications, as you'll see. But all right, got this belt off. That was a lot easier to get off than it was to put on. It's definitely got some stretching in it by now, which is it's good. That's what you want. You need it to adapt. Okay, pull this off, throw it in the Jeep. All right, next thing you're gonna do, it looks like you're gonna have to remove your power steering pump. Yeah, you got to remove the power steering pump to get this off. So that's going to be fun. Let's get after it. So things like this are why you may want to remove the radiator and the whole core support, the front end. I am not doing that because since I don't have my fan right here, it's a lot easier to get to the water pump. So we're just gonna do it like this and just call it good. That's all we're gonna need. All right, I wanna make sure you guys can see this. So you gotta remove the power steering pump to get this off, and there are several bolts that you need to do. These two right here, those are 15mm. I would suggest waiting on those because you have to take the power steering pump itself off the bracket and then take the bracket off. So if you know how to remove a power steering pump, there's holes in it right here. It's just like a flywheel and stuff. You just put you gotta have an extension. This one is gonna be a 13mm. So you just put that gently there, and then you just take these off. There's 3 of them up here to take the power steering pump off. Make sure you have somewhere safe to set that. I happen to have a cold air intake and no air box, so I'm moving the air intake as I do a lot, and I will just set it right there where the air intake sits. All right, the power steering pump bolts are out. I'm gonna put these somewhere safe, which just so happens to be my pocket. And then you are going to move the power steering pump and put it somewhere safe. Just like that. set it down right there to the side. Now we got to get this bracket off. 3 15mm bolts, 2 of them right here connected to the water pump, and then there is one up under here underneath the exhaust manifold. Be careful and do not do this job if you've just got done driving. You can't do any kind of coolant job whenever the engine's hot anyways, so common sense would tell you the exhaust manifold would be very hot if you're trying to get to that bolt. So just make sure engine's not hot when you're doing all of this. Well, I'm running into some troubles here as usual, but that's not going to stop me. I can't get this last one out because the way that I was trying to do it, I was using another wrench, but as I was loosening these, it was tightening this one, and then now this is the last one that's tight and I just can't get out, so I'm going to need like an electric ratchet or something for that. So I'll have to figure that out. In the meantime, I've started to get this new hose on. I've got to take the core support off anyway to get to that hose, and then I got to replace that one. And I'm gonna try to flush the heater core while I'm at it today. All right, so I have decided that to get this out, I'm gonna use my drill wherever I set it, and I'm gonna take the whole front clip off just to get to that, because I wanna get this done. Also, to take the core support off, you are gonna have 6 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, I broke one, 5, and 6 10mm bolts to get that one out. And then these here, these are a T30. These are all up here in this front clip, so you're gonna need to take those out. All right, I finally got it loose, and the trick to it, I wouldn't recommend doing this with a brand new serpentine belt. I just happen to still keep my old serpentine belt, so if you can, take the belt, wrap it around the pulley. That'll give you some grip to be able to unloosen this. All right, y'all, so once you get this loose, all the nuts or bolts loose in here, you're gonna have to put your serpentine belt, again, use that old belt, put your serpentine belt up against it and hammer on it a little bit, because that's the only way it'll come loose. And you have to have this off because you gotta have all these bolts out to change the water pump. So once you're at the water pump, that's a 13, that's a 13, and that's a 13, and you're gonna need an extension to get back to that one. So go ahead and take all those out. Guys, I forgot to mention there's one more bolt at the very, very bottom there. Make sure you get that one. All right, once you have the bolts out, you're gonna pull the water pump off. Be careful, coolant is gonna come out, and you make sure to have a drain pan down there, okay? Coolant is not good to go in the ground. It is very sweet. If animals drink it, they will die. All right, once you get the water pump off, you're gonna take some sort of gasket scraper and scrape all that old gasket material off. This may be a bit overkill. Try not to get anything in the engine like I'm doing. Just be very careful with it. Make sure all that old stuff is off. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Grab your razor blade and give it some detail. This is the most important part of the job, guys. Please don't rush through this. If you rush through this and you leave gasket material on here, you could have a leak, which is not good. Make sure you get all this old material off. Let's not forget about our water pump inlet tube. This goes to the heater core. Need a 19mm wrench and a lot of patience to put this on here. All right, I'm sorry I didn't exactly show you guys it going in, but just know that when you put it in, have the gasket on, put these 2 alternating bolts in there to help hold the gasket to start it, and then put the other 2 bolts in. I always say on this channel, do everything in a cross pattern, just like a wheel, like you would lug nuts. So I've got that one in, now I'm getting this one, and then that one. All right, so now we have the water pump in, we got the pulley back on. Again, I use that serpentine belt to tension it so I can tighten all those. I got both the new hoses on. Look at those things. Those just look awesome. Look at all this red underneath the hood. We're really getting there. Now, we got to put the bracket back on for the power steering pump. Well, I've obviously skipped a few steps, and I do apologize for that. Just know that however I showed you how to take it off, it goes back on reverse, just the opposite way. It was an absolute mess doing this video. I was trying my best to get out there in the cold. I was running into problems, and then I had no coolant. I wasn't smart, and I didn't make sure that I had extra coolant before I started this. So the Jeep's been sitting a couple days all put together without coolant in it. And right now we're going to go see, not me putting coolant in it, but the aftermath of when I put coolant in it and already bled the system and ran it. So completely skipping all of those other steps. But thank you guys for being patient with this monstrosity of a video. All right, y'all. I'm sorry I skipped a few steps, but she's back together. She's got coolant in her. She's running good. And check this ish out, man. It's a little messy in here, don't mind that, but my heater works, bro. I have heat now. My God, you don't know how excited I am about this. This is the one thing that I've really, really wanted to fix. All I had to do was unclog that heater cord. A beater with a heater, baby. Well, needless to say, I am super, super happy with how all this turned out. I'm mainly happy. I was the happiest about me having heat. So great to finally have heat, because this Southern Illinois weather is not it for a Florida man. Anyway, with that being said, that'll be all for this video, guys. I'm sorry it was such a mess. I know it was awful, but the water pump is on, the new hoses are on. Just follow my crazy steps that I've given you. If you're gonna unclog the heater core, that's super simple. Go watch Chris Fix's videos on how to unclog a heater core. He's really intelligent and knows a lot about specifically what you need to do. I did it the wrong way. So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. See you later.